The Quest 3 hasn't even launched yet, and we've already got supply chain analysts claiming that the Quest 3 demand is far less than it was forecasted. Keep in mind, claims from supply chain analysts can be completely wrong, partially wrong, sometimes right, although when it comes to Apple leaks, the analyst in question here, Ming-Chi Kuo, has a pretty good track record with about 81% accuracy for Apple. Kuo's latest report is suggesting that the Quest 3 was supposed to sell 7 million units by the end of the year, and they're saying this has been downgraded to around 2.5 million. So far, the Quest 3 128 gig remains completely available anywhere you want to pre-order it, although the 512 has sold out on some sites or is at least back ordered already. This suggesting that enthusiasts and people who know they're going to want that bigger storage size may be buying all those up already, but general consumers haven't bought up the 128 gigabyte ones yet. A couple things to keep in mind here: the headset hasn't even launched yet. There's been tons of people in the comments saying, I'm waiting for reviews, I'm waiting to see what people think of this headset before I buy it, especially as it's $500 versus the Quest 2 that was wildly successful at only $300. This is not something I personally find concerning at all, especially as the Quest 2 is going to continue to be sold alongside the Quest 3 at that lower price point it still has. We did see at Connect Meta proudly announce that they had reached $2 billion plus spent in the Quest store, although people are pointing out that they announced $1.5 billion at last year's Connect, meaning it was only about a $500 million in the last year. This of course suggesting that sales might have slowed down, especially as people have been waiting for the Quest 3 instead of purchasing more and more games on the Quest 2 that they already had or hadn't bought yet. With all that, what do you think? Are you waiting for reviews to buy a Quest 3? Have you already put in a pre-order? Are you going to hold out with the Quest 2 for a while and at least see what the holidays bring? Let me know in the comments. With us getting closer to that Quest 3 launch date, we're seeing a lot of people getting Quest 3s in hand already. Whether it's people who are able to walk into a Best Buy and order one, people who had them accidentally show up early on Amazon, or a whole bevy of YouTubers, many of which we met while we were at Meta Connect last week, showing off their first pictures of them. It's exciting to know more of these things are out there in the wild. People are testing them out, hopefully give us their thoughts soon, and hopefully I'll be doing the same for you. An exciting update we found out about the Quest 3 is that it's going to introduce inside-out body tracking. This is tracking that is going to be seeing what your upper body is doing through the camera, including shoulders, elbows, and even your torso. This means tons of improvements in all kinds of games, from social games being able to more accurately reflect what your body's doing, to shooter games being able to tell if your body is still staying behind a corner but you're peeking just your head out to look around the corner. And so far in the demos that we've seen, it looks like it's decently accurate. These side cameras on the Quest 3 are figuring out what your body is doing and where it's at, but also with it being able to know what your body's doing, they're now predicting what your legs are doing and adding in legs that also look surprisingly accurate. This brings a lot more hope to the full body tracking without additional sensors that we've hoped for a long time. I don't know about you, but I'm really excited to check this out. Although the Quest 3 is about to launch, it sounds like these updates aren't coming till December, so we'll have to hold out a little while and report back to you on how well they work for us. Another cool update that the Quest 3 is going to bring is using mixed reality in your home environment to allow augments in your home. This can range from all kinds of things, putting an Instagram wall up on your wall so that you can see videos and stuff that's going on, iHeartRadio radio player that you can interact with, and even just decorations that stay in place around your home wherever you put them, whether that's on the table or in the middle of your living room. One of the really neat things that was mentioned is making portals in your home that can actually jump you into particular apps. This would definitely be cool if you have a big enough play space that you usually walk over to one side to play something like a fitness app, and you could have that portal pinned to where that's always in that part of the room that you go to play, and even being able to display things like your Beat Saber trophies around your house. I don't spend much time customizing my home environment currently, but now that it's going to be in my actual home with mixed reality, I feel like this might be kind of cool. Although, will this really be able to be like shown to friends as you bring them to your home, since they most likely won't be seeing your actual home through the cameras? The zone that controllers track you in front, known as controller tracking coverage, looks very different for the Quest 3 than previous headsets. Now, as you can see, the placement of the cameras on the Quest 3, many of them are low and facing down or forward and outward. This means that it will be harder for the Quest to track if your hands are up. The Quest 3 Touch Plus controllers have also ditched the tracking ring as we've seen, and they have IR lights on the faceplate of them and an additional one in the very bottom of the controller. That one could help potentially if you have your hands out in front of you and it sees that one light there, at least on your way reaching up, it could still track the controllers. But with these side cameras on the Quest 3, it's able to track a lot more when your hands are down and around you, and this could explain why it was able to tell usually when I tried to put my hand behind my back and it only lost tracking once or twice. This is concerning potentially for Beat Saber players and Gorilla Tag players who reach up a lot while they play, although Meta said that they believe this is a worthwhile trade-off because players don't often hold their hands above their heads for long periods of time. The headset can effectively estimate the position of the controllers when outside the tracking area for short periods, such as a quick reach up to grab onto something and swing down, or reaching your saber up and then swiping down. It's an interesting choice to change the placement of the cameras and not do anything to face upwards, because we've seen over the years a lot of different placements, and the Rift S, which was one of the best inside-out tracked headsets, had a camera facing directly up. When I get my hands on this headset, you're gonna get a lot more testing of those tracking zones, see what dead spots we can find, so keep an eye out for that video. And it has me curious and wondering about the infrared light in the bottom of the controller, because keep in mind that could easily be occluded by your hand or hidden if you put any sort of grips on the controllers. In the good old days when John Carmack was the CTO of Meta or Oculus, usually after the Kinect keynote, he would give his own thoughts later in the day in a long conversation. This year he expressed doubts about mixed reality's ability to increase headset sales. He tweeted out a message not directly saying the Quest 3, but saying that he remains unconvinced that mixed reality applications are any kind of an engine for increasing headset sales. Just said that basically MR in your real world environment isn't any kind of a killer app. And John concluding that he thought there's much more low-hanging fruit that could have been grabbed first. This is something I'd love to get your thoughts out there. I've seen a lot of people in the comments saying they don't really care about the mixed reality side. They're here for the better resolution, the better VR capability. I actually gave thoughts after testing out the headset saying that I feel like mixed reality has a lot of potential and it could be really cool, but these first experiences we see kind of feel like a step back. For years in VR now, we've been saying we want full games, full experiences, and a lot of these mixed reality games are very short, very tech demo-y. It's like we're going back to the early days of VR and starting over. I'm very excited about the VR side. I am excited about some of the MR gaming, but it'll be really interesting to see what people's reception is once they actually get these headsets in homes, try them out, and are they using the MR modes very often. Virtual Desktop was one of the earliest ways to get your Quest working wirelessly, and now they are adding an update that adds Quest 3 support and Quest Pro VR chat face and eye tracking as well. This is obviously exciting news for Quest 3 and Quest Pro owners, but an interesting thing that came up, he said that the Quest 3 has improved Wi-Fi performance over all previous standalone headsets, making streaming just smoother in general. And this is the best headset for wireless PCVR by far. Wireless PCVR being the big dream a lot of us are hoping the Valve Deckard would bring. This may force some people still to decide between the Quest 3 with its better resolution and now it being the best wireless PCVR headset, or those people who do really want the face and eye tracking of the Quest Pro. Either way, it's exciting to see more getting updated and ready so that even after launch we won't have to be waiting on a lot of these apps to use them. We finally saw some acknowledgement of Apple Vision Pro by Meta when we saw at the Kinect keynote when both Mark Zuckerberg and Boz mentioned how the Quest 3 will not need any sort of wires or external battery pack. In fact, when Boz set it up on stage, it seemed very obvious when he pointed down to his pocket and said you won't need to have a battery pack that they are taking shots at Apple.
And it does all of this, by the way, on a standalone headset. No wires, no battery pack, no console to plug into.
It's a funny stance to take because both sides are working towards spatial computing being a thing for all of us, and really they're waging the same battle, but it looks like this may actually heat up a little bit as they start to battle each other. So far people are saying these headsets are in completely different markets. Anyone who's going to buy a $3,500 Apple headset may not be interested in a $500 Quest and vice versa. I will say, as I was there in the crowd, it was pretty funny the crowd's reaction. The moment everyone realized what Boz was saying and doing, everybody started laughing and clapping. So that was pretty cool to see. There's a lot going on out there and we are just days away from the Quest 3. Over here we'll be getting you all the coverage we can on it, telling you everything good and bad as close to the release date as possible. But if you have questions for me for that, go ahead and drop them in the comments down below. I'm going to try and make sure I cover as much as I can in the time that I have. With that said, thank you once again for being here with me, and I will see you in another reality.